Hello, Year 2, and welcome to Monday's Reading Skills. Now, before we start, I'm just going to whiz through last week's word of the day. So do just pause the screen for a second and familiarise yourself with those words. See if you can remember what each mean, and maybe even see if you can put those in a sentence. Don't forget, you don't have to write these down. You can say them. So pause the screen now. Right, let's go through them then. So the first word was splendid. I wonder what splendid means. So if you say something splendid, it is very good. Okay, so parents thought it was splendid. The next word was arrive. Personal place come to it. So Courtney arrived 5 minutes early for the party. The next word was exist. If something exists, it is present. World. The children believed that really existed. Tunnel. A tunnel is a long passage which has been made under the through. So the family travelled through the tunnel under the river. And finally, dream. When you dream, you experience imaginary events in your mind while you are asleep. So I'm confident you have remembered what all of those words mean. So for our reading skills today, then we are going to be carrying on with Fantastic Mr. Fox, just like this week. We're going to be having a look at chapter today. Okay. If you do have the book, it'd be really lovely if you read along with me. It's really nice to see last week. Lots of you sent pictures in and you were sat watching the reading skills and you all had the book in your hand. It's so lovely to see. But if you don't have the book, that is absolutely fine because I have put the words on the screen again. If you're reading along at home, chapter 9 is on page 34. So you can find that now. So, like last week then, do pause the screen and have a go at reading it yourself first, okay, because it'd be really lovely to practice your reading, okay? So if you want to do that, pause the screen now. Okay, let's have a read through. So chapter 9, Mr. Fox. For 3 days and 3 nights, this waiting game went on. How long can a fox go without food or water? Third day. Not much longer now, told him. He'll make a run for it soon. He'll have to. Bean was right. Down in the tunnel, the fox was slowly but surely starving to death. If only we could just have a tiny sip of water, said the small foxes. Oh, Dad, can't you do something? Couldn't we make a dash for it, Dad? We'd have a little bit of a chance, wouldn't we? No chance at all, snapped Mrs. Fox. I refuse to let you go up there and face those guns. I'd sooner you stay down here and die in peace. Mr. Fox had not spoken for a long time, but he had been sitting quite still, his eyes closed, not even hearing what the others were saying. Mrs. Fox knew that he was trying desperately to think of a way, and now, as she looked, she saw him stir himself and get slowly to his feet. He looked at his wife. There was a little spark of excitement in his eyes. What is it, darling? Said I've just had a bit of an idea, Mr. Fox carefully. What? They cried. Oh, Dad, what is it? Come on, said Mrs. Fox. Tell us quickly. Well, said Mr. Fox. Then he stopped and sighed and sadly shook his head. He sat down again. It's no good, he said. It won't work after all. Why not, Dad? Because it means more digging. And we aren't any of us strong enough for that after 3 days and 3 nights without food. Yes, we are, Dad, cried the small foxes, jumping up and running to their father. We can do it. You see if we can't. So can you. Mr. Fox looked at the small foxes and smiled. What fine children I have, he thought. They are starving to death and they haven't had a drink for 3 days, but they are still undefeated. I must not let them down. I suppose we could give it a try, he said. Let's go, Dad. Tell us what you want us to do. Slowly, Mrs. Fox got to her feet. She was suffering more than any of them from the lack of food or water. She was very weak. I'm so sorry, she said, but I don't think I'm going to be much help. You stay right there. You stay right where you are, my darling, said Mr. Fox. We can handle this by ourselves. Okay, so I do have a rhyme for you then. So just to remind you that we are going to be using our tree skills, inference skills, and we are also going to be explaining today. Okay, so the first question then, the retrieval, don't forget this one that you pick straight out of the text, says, how long did the waiting game go on for? Okay, how long did the waiting game go on for? So if you need to, you can always go back and have another little read of text, okay, to make sure that you are absolutely sure. And just to remind you, I'm not expecting you to write the question out, okay? You can simply put an R like we used to in our books, okay? And then you can just answer that question in a full sentence for me, okay? And then there'll be no need for you to write it out. So I'm going to show you what that means now. So you'll put an R. The question asked us, how long did the waiting game go on for? So you would simply say, the waiting game went on for, and then you would answer that for me. Okay, so we need to write for that one. The next question, your inference question, says, how do you think the small foxes are feeling and why? Okay, so maybe towards the end of that, okay, how were the small foxes feeling? Now for this, you are going to have to read between the lines a little and maybe look at the sorts of things that they're saying. Okay, for example, let's go, Dad. Tell us what you want to do. Okay, that doesn't say, it doesn't say in the text, said the small foxes calmly, for example. Okay, it doesn't give us the exact, you can infer from there what they're saying, how you think they might be. Okay, and then you need to explain your reasoning for this. Why do you think that? Right? So you might use something that they say as an example as your evidence to back up your answer. So for this one, again, you don't need to write out the question. You just need to answer the sentence. How do you think the small foxes are feeling now? Why? You can simply say, I think the small foxes are feeling. Okay, and then you would tell me. And then don't forget your pause and give me reasoning. Finally, why do you think Roald Dahl didn't tell us Mr. Fox's plan? Okay, why do you think that he didn't, Roald Dahl didn't tell us the full plan? Okay, so have a little think about that one. And then again, you would just simply put an E for explain. And then you would say something along the lines of, I think Roald Dahl didn't reveal the plan because, okay, and then you can explain why you think. All right, so if you need to, I'm just going to make those a different colour for you. I know some of you do like to use sentence starters as a little bit of a help, so you can by all means pause the screen and use those to help you. There we go. All right, and that is all of our reading skills for today. I look forward to receiving your answers, and I will see you for reading tomorrow. Bye, everyone.